Yes, my fellow Youpreneurs, we are back with another monthly chit-chat inside of the Youpreneur Academy, and I'm joined by the incredible Sunny Lenarduzzi. That is a surname.
It sure is.
I mean, Ducker is good, but Lenarduzzi takes it to a whole new level.
The guy at Customs yesterday was like, "Best of luck to you. Are you gonna keep your last name?" I was like,
so good. You are amazing at what you do. A lot of people know you specifically for your work with YouTube and online video and stuff, but there's so much more going on, which we're going to dive into a little bit more here. I'm really excited about this. This is literally, we've known each other for a few years. She's been on Youpreneur FM before. We've said hi on a number of corridors, but this is literally like the most time we've ever spent with each other.
It's nice, and it's nice that it's recorded, so we can just share the value. Yeah.
We won't see each other again for about a decade now. This will be it. So
we'll cherish the memory.
Okay, where do we start? I mean, I guess let's start with the journey here a little bit, right? So, like, what brought you to YouTube, online business, rockstar stardom? What's the journey like?
It's definitely been not straight and narrow, which I think is very true for most people. But I started as a journalist and thought that was what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and truly, really wanted to do it from the time I was a little girl. I idolized Oprah. I was like, she gets paid to talk and help people.
You met her recently.
I did.
And posed for a very awkward
photo. I was like, it's actually perfect that it came out this way. I was like, Oprah asks you a question, you answer it, even if someone's taking a picture at that moment.
I felt so bad for you, though, because that's like,
I was like,
if I had a chance to like meet Richard Branson, who's my hero,
yes.
like if I had a chance to meet him, and then I had like a 5-second shot for
window.
a photo, and I ended up with kind of or whatever you were doing in the photo, I would be mortified.
I at first was mortified, and then I thought it was perfect. Yes. I was like, this just shows how much I actually love her. And I was more focused on the fact that I actually did have like 5 to 10 seconds to get my point across.
Yes.
And I wanted her to know how impactful she was for me. And then it led to, when she was on stage that night, she mentioned me twice.
That's so cool.
So I was like, you know what? I'll take the crappy photo. I'm good with it.
You'll get another one at some point.
Exactly. That's what I said. I'm like,
she ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
I'm like, this is proof that I need a redo at some point.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I was like, I want to be a journalist. That's what I want to do. So I went to broadcasting school out of high school, got my first job in radio. I was like the afternoon and traffic host, and loved it. And then reported at the Olympics. And that was always my big goal. I was like, I want to report at the Olympics in 2010. I was pretty much fresh out of school.
What country was that in 2010?
It was in Whistler, in Vancouver.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was the Winter Games, and I knew it was going to be in Vancouver, and I was like, that's it. Even though I was really fresh out of school, I was like, I will get there. So I did, and I remember working, and I was filing a story a day and reporting all over Whistler and living up there. And in my brain, I was like, okay, I'm doing the thing that I always wanted to do. Check it off the list. Logically, this is great. But in my gut and in my heart, I was like, this is not it. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And a lot of it was from the fact that in journalism and in traditional media, I have so much respect for people who work in it because it's really hard. There's also just so many rules around it. And my whole thing was I wanted to tell stories the way I wanted to tell them. And I wanted to talk about the things I wanted to talk about. And I was very much being told, you have to wear this, say this, do things this way, write your stories this way. And it just wasn't me. So I was driving home from the Olympics, and I had a light bulb moment. I was like, I'm gonna start my first business. No business acumen, no business training, nothing. And I decided to start an online magazine, which, like, at the time, people were like, you're doing what? Because it was 2010.
So this was like an iPad type thing? You wanted an actual...
No, it was just like a blog, but I was like, it's going to be an online magazine. It was a blog, but it was like set up like a CNN. Like it had like all the different categories.
Okay.
Yeah, so I leveraged social media, and I knew nothing about it at the time, and I built an audience and started to build an email list and built up like a team of writers and their contributors, and we had 10 people contributing, and I loved it, and I learned so much. It was trial by fire because I was like, I have to grow this. I went door to door selling advertising space, and it was the best business boot camp I've ever been through. So didn't really make any money.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you?
Made like nothing.
Right.
Like nothing. But from that, I got my name out there because people were looking at what I did, and the audience that I built just using this new thing of social media. Instagram didn't exist at this point. And people were like, what is she doing? How is she doing this? So all these companies started to hire me as a consultant and manager for their social media and wanted me to do the same thing. And
So now you're making money.
now I'm making money.
Right.
Now I'm a consultant. Now I have these little contracts and I'm able to work from wherever. And it's amazing. But at the same time, you get to a point where you tap out. So I studied my craft of social media and working on all the different platforms for 4 to 5 years. And then out of pure desperation one day, I had all these clients asking the same questions over and over again, and I was tapped out. I couldn't take on any more clients. I was doing all of it by myself. And so I got to a place where I was like, how do I get myself out of having to go to meetings and get on the phone with individual clients? I was like, I'm gonna make a video. So they were all asking me about Periscope at the time and live streaming. So I was like,
I think that's how I discovered
Probably.
you initially, actually.
Yeah.
'Cause I was all in on Periscope.
Right.
2015.
As was I.
All
yeah,
in
2015,
on it.
March
Yeah.
of 2015.
Yeah.
So I post the video. I have no subscribers on my channel, like no strategy. All that's up there are old demo reels and random vlogs that were terrible.
Right.
And I post the video. I just sent it to my clients. I wake up the next day and I have 2,000 views, and I was shocked because I put minimal effort into what it looked like. I filmed with a webcam, my window for natural lighting, and literally was wearing pajamas from the bottom down. I was just wearing a t-shirt and pajamas. And so I just sent it to my clients, and all I focused on was helping them understand this concept and use it in their business. That's all I cared about. And it took off. Now it has like 100,000 views on that video, and then I made another video, and that video now has 1 million views on it. And so I kind of challenged myself, and I was like, all right, if I do this once a week for the next year and just answer frequently asked questions from my clients, it's okay.
Nadine has just... She's just learned a very valuable lesson.
That's okay. I will pick up. Believe me, I'm a pro at this. I'm all good.
Oh my God.
Where was I? I was saying, okay, I'll go from where I
So if I do it once a week.
Yeah. So I thought to myself, if I challenge myself and I do this once a week for the next year, what would happen? I had no expectations. And in the first month, the head of social media for NATO reached out to me and found me on LinkedIn. And I still have the message. And I honestly thought I was like being catfished. And he was like, hey, I saw your video on how to use Twitter on YouTube. I think you're really good at explaining social media. So do you want to come to our conference and talk about video marketing, online marketing, social media to like NASA, CIA, FBI, the UN, all these people at NATO's headquarters? And I really was blown away. But that's the power of...
That would have freaked me out.
Completely freaked me out.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah. So first speaking engagement, pretty much thrown right in the deep end. And that's the power of YouTube. And what I've really discovered is that it's a magnet. When you put out the content works for you when you do it in the right way.
Yeah.
You're constantly bringing in these opportunities. You're constantly bringing in new customers, new clients, new community members, and new opportunities. So from there, I did 1 video a week. That's it. Used my webcam for the first year and edited all the videos by myself, and grew to 50,000 subscribers and 3 million views. And I think that's the thing to understand is like you go from having 10 clients in person and 10 people knowing what you're good at to 3 million people. So the demand skyrocketed. My business blew up. And we basically like 5x our revenue in that first year. It was crazy. And
Which is not normal.
It's not normal.
Sorry to cut you off.
My growth has not been normal. No,
Yeah.
like literally from start to finish, my growth has not been normal. Like we have consistently doubled our revenue every single year for 4 years. It's insane to me.
Why do you think that is? I want to dig on that just for a minute.
So for me, I really do believe it's what I'm now helping other people get to, which is I work smart, not hard. And I worked really, really hard for a long time, like pounding the pavement, going door to door, working by myself, having no team, and never really thought I wanted a team. And now we're at a place where I have basically created a system for everything in the business, but particularly for marketing the business. And so YouTube is at the center of it, but more importantly than that, it's not really about the platform, it's about the content we put out is very, very strategic and targeted. And so I really believe, I always say niche down to blow up. I have stayed in my lane. I've focused on the thing that I want to focus on, and it has created this magnetic effect of pulling people in. And I think the thing about YouTube that's so amazing is that I always say that it builds your income, impact, and audience on autopilot.
How often do you publish to YouTube?
I was doing once a week for 4 years. Now we do twice a week.
So you've upped it. You've doubled it.
Yeah, but it
Why is
took me
that?
4 years to get there. Because I can now. Basically.
So nonchalant.
I can now. No, truthfully.
Is
like,
it because you've got the team and you've got the systems
I
and
do, but
everything
that's
else?
the irony too. Like, I think I've just been through a lot in the last 4 years, and this last year particularly. There's a mindset that happens, which I wish somebody had told me earlier, which is that when you grow and you grow your revenue, you in your head are kind of like, oh God, I've got to grow everything. I'm going to grow my team. I need more help. I need more X, Y, and Z. Whereas for me, I've actually gone from having we had 15 people on my team this time last year, and now we have 6. And we are way more efficient. We are way more profitable. And everyone's like a Swiss Army knife in the business. And so I think one of my biggest lessons is less is more. And even with my YouTube content, I have a very minimalist business strategy. Like my YouTube content, I still film a lot of it myself. I send it to my editor, or my editor comes in, we film all the content in one day. And that's a full month of content.
Yep.
We batch everything for the most part. So I'm very
So what you're
organized.
trying to say is you work 1 day a month. And the rest of the month you do no work
take
at all?
off the time. No, and that's the thing. I think that everything is so strategic, whereas all of my YouTube content is leading people into our conversion site to get people to join our programs. And my only focus is results. And I really do believe that when you
Results for your clients.
yeah,
Right.
and when you get results for your clients, and we've got some amazing results. We built a wall of fame last month, and it's on my website. We have a 100K club, which is all of our clients who've gotten to 100K, not only on their YouTube channel, but some of them revenue-wise, times 10.
Sure, yeah.
And then all of our reviews. And it's the proudest thing I've ever done in my business. And also, I just believe, when you have results, you don't even really need good copy.
Yeah.
So you just start eliminating things when you have the proof that you know what you're doing. And when you know what you're doing, you also are really good at formulating it into a place where you can create a curriculum and then serve that up to people. And so that's been part of it, is that I took what I learned from 5 years of working with clients in every kind of niche, on every kind of platform, and I started to basically take that information and knowledge of what I would do in a one-to-one setting to get people from what I like to call the 0 to hero journey, to transform them from where they were to where they wanted to be with their business. And now I've been able to turn that into a curriculum, while also so I'm serving more people because they can study it, and then I'm also able to consult with them, but they have the basics at their fingertips. So that's been a huge part of it.
Okay.
But you can't get there first. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I want to build a course. And I'm like, don't build a course.
Yeah, you need the foundation.
Until you prove it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's dive on this a little bit then, a little deeper. So obviously YouTube at the center still
Yes.
of everything that you do, but
Yep.
really there's machines now
Totally.
that are plugged in various different kind of areas and angles and things like that. What do you think, for those people who maybe are creating content already on a regular basis, whether it's on YouTube or elsewhere, how can we actually get to the point now starting to genuinely make money off that content? Because I think a lot of people still look at content as part of their marketing,
Yeah.
but there's so much more we can do with Evergreen webinar funnels and a whole bunch of it. And you are teaching this stuff and
Yes.
you're doing it very, very well. Teach the Youpreneur.
Yes, the Youpreneurs. Yeah, I mean, I call it my Evergreen sales machine strategy, but overarching, it's a sales machine. That's what I feel like we built in the business. And we have them set up in a couple of different ways. And when I talk about generating clients and getting money in the door, the reality is you don't even need a funnel to start. You don't need the tech to start. What you need is to just get the first couple early adopters of your services in the door, get them results, and then you have the social proof to be able to say, okay, my formula works for getting people results. Now I can turn that into a curriculum, and then I can further scale it. But I'm a big believer that, and I just have seen it so many times now, you have to start, if you're a service-based person or entrepreneur, you have to start by providing that service in a more intimate setting. And I say you're the rocket scientist of your business because you have to test everything. So you might think that you have a winning formula that's going to get people results and get people from A to B, but until it's in the real world and you're actually using it with people, you don't know. So my best suggestion is, we have something called on-demand client attraction that we work with people on, which is leveraging things like direct messages. You don't even need an audience to do that.
No.
You just have to be very thoughtful in how you reach out to people. So we give people scripts on how to do that. We provide them with things called mini launches, which is like not the full-fledged, like month-long, pre-launch, launch, everything else. Because I haven't done a launch in a really long time because honestly, they stress me out too bad. So
someone else who's actually on. No,
Yeah.
let's talk. Can we dive on that for a second? Because
sure.
I'm all about this. So in 2017, we closed the doors to the academy.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to do what everyone else seems to be doing. Close doors, a couple of launches a year, big email list building. But you know the deal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I don't think in 15 years of building, buying, selling businesses, I don't think I've ever been as stressed
It's terrible.
as I was doing a couple of bloody online business launches
Yeah.
in 2017.
Yeah, and I think that's the funny thing because I think the launch model is glamorized, and I did it, and I don't think it's a bad thing in the beginning because it does give you cash flow, but you can also get cash flow by working with less clients one-to-one and charging a higher
Yes,
rate.
yes.
So I learned this by doing launches, and I was like, it is not for me. Like, I feel like I want to die after them. Yes, you get an influx of cash flow, but you are so stressed out, you're so burnt out that you can't do anything else afterwards. So I really wanted to get out of the launch model, and how I differentiate entrepreneurs, and I'm sure that you watching will be able to relate to this, and this is how I used to be. It's either you're a treadmill entrepreneur or you're a bulletproof business owner. So treadmill entrepreneurs are the entrepreneurs that are constantly having to sprint to get a client, then you can breathe because you got a little bit of money in the bank, and then you got to sprint again to find another client, and you're just constantly on this treadmill. Whereas a bulletproof business owner is somebody who has diversified lead generation. You've got leads coming from all sources. You have a machine, a sales machine working for you on the back end when you're not working, through email automations, a training webinar, whether that's live or pre-recorded, a video sales letter, whatever it might be. You have something on the back end that's taking people from they meet you, they find you, into being a customer. So that's what we call the Evergreen sales machine. And the first part of it is the most important, which is building your own audience, which is really building your email list. Because when you are building just your social platforms, my friend Jenna Kutcher always talks about this, and I think it's a great way to put it. You're building a house on borrowed land. So at any point, the Instagram founders or Facebook founders or YouTube founders could take away your reach.
Yep.
Because they change the algorithm, which happens all the time. So building your own audience gives you the ability to beat ads and break algorithms. And that's what we've been able to do, and it's been a big part of my success. I focused on that from day one when I figured it all out. And so in the first part of the sales machine, it really goes like this. I wish I could show it visually, but
Do you have a graphic?
I do. We can share it with you.
We'll insert it.
Yeah, so you'll be able to see it. So the sales machine starts with, if it's the Evergreen sales machine, it starts with YouTube. And the reason I call it an Evergreen sales machine is because following our formula, you're going to rank your videos on page 1. So say somebody is looking up how to get more views on YouTube or how to use YouTube for your business. I'm going to show up on page 1 in the first couple rankings. So people are going to discover me through that. People who have never heard of me. They go to the video, they watch the video, then they go to an opt-in of some kind, so a freebie, which is like our SEO checklist or our 0 to 100,000 subscribers guide. They download that, they get to the thank you page. They're now on our email list. When they get to the thank you page, we let them know, oh, actually, we also have a free training happening tomorrow. Make sure you sign up here on how to 100 extra subscribers and double your revenue.
That's the Evergreen.
That's Evergreen. And we also have a live webinar that we do every Wednesday. So, and that's for our Authority Accelerator program. So you take people from piece of content, and that start of the funnel can also be what we call our on-demand, which is Instagram DMs, Instagram posts, Instagram stories, Facebook posts, Facebook DMs, LinkedIn posts. Like, it can be any platform that you use for the start of it. So you take them from the top of the funnel, which is your content or your message. You get them into your email list, from your lead magnet to thank you page. From your thank you page, you take them to a webinar, live or pre-recorded. From the webinar, you convert them into a customer, you make the sale, and then they become a lifelong customer, and then they're in your system. And it's all automated, and it's all simple, and it's all set up seamlessly. And then if you're in the beginning stages of your business to get money in the bank, it's really about knowing your ideal client so you can find them, because they're out there. But I think the biggest problem right now is that people are going so broad. Whereas if you niche down to blow up, and you find the right people, you become a magnet, because you're speaking to that one person instead of trying to speak to 1,000 who are like, what do you do and how can you help me? So one of my clients I was talking about earlier today, Stone Coat Countertops, I'm so proud of them. I just did a live stream with them last week. They just sold their YouTube channel for a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars. When we started working with them, they had 80,000 subscribers last June, June 2018, making about $30,000 a month. This month they did 1.4 million. They're generally generating 7 figures a month, and they just got acquired for a lot of money. And the thing with them is they're talking about epoxy stone countertops. Like, I love using them
sexy stuff.
as an example, because I'm like, you can't get more niche than that.
Yeah.
So niching down.
I'm trying to wrap my head around what's worked so well for them. Is it just a relevancy factor?
It's
SEO
a relevancy
focus,
factor, and
the strategy?
he actually put it in a really. I love Mike, the founder of the company. He's amazing. And part of what's worked so well is he's like, YouTube is free remarketing. So like, you think about Facebook ads. You put out the first ad, you build up your warm audience, and then you want to remarket to them to send them to a training or whatever else it might be, or your product or service. Whereas on YouTube, if you start dominating for one keyword, and you built authority by getting views, likes, comments, etc., in the algorithm on YouTube, then they go, okay, anytime this channel posts about epoxy countertops, they're going to get pushed up higher.
Right.
So they have an unfair advantage. So it's free remarketing to their subscriber base. Their subscriber base then likes the video, comments on the video, etc., pushes it up higher in the ranking, and then new people are discovering them all the time, because anywhere that you look for epoxy countertops, you're finding them. It's crazy. And
great.
Another one of our clients helps people pass the Certified Management Accountant exam. I didn't even know what it was when he started working with us. And literally, if you look up any term related to CMA exam, he ranks top 3, and he's every single place that someone has a question about that. Study techniques, program materials, etc. He's there.
Now, what if a channel is, because a lot of the Youpreneurs out there, although they are very specialized, I mean, you know, the premise of a Youpreneur is somebody who has an expertise in one particular niche, right? Yeah. And so what if the channel is a little broader overall?
Yeah.
Does that cause problems from the algorithm perspective if they are a little all over the place in terms of content specifics?
Depends on how all over the place you go. Because
Right.
I think if you're specialized in some way, shape, or form, you're going to stay like in a certain bubble.
Right.
So it's okay to go like 6 degrees of separation outside of that. And actually, it can inform your paid products. So we have 2 client examples of that. One of them is a career consultant, and she started on YouTube talking about everything related to getting your dream career and landing your dream career. And then she realized her videos on resumes were getting the most uptick. So she made an entire program around resumes, and she's generating now like $1,000 a day just using this whole system that I just shared. Same with another one of our clients, started on YouTube talking about mindset and overall marketing and online marketing and all these different platforms. And then she did a video on Instagram, and it exploded. And so her audience wanted to know more about Instagram. So she made a paid program on Instagram, and her first launch, she did $200,000 just to the audience she'd built from YouTube on her email list.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are people going wrong? What are the things that are tripping themselves up?
Going too broad. Like, when I say too broad, you can actually, like I just said, you can start broad-ish in your industry and then use the analytics to inform your decisions on what you're going to sell. That's not a problem. That happens all the time. Is actually what happened with me. But I think the issue is that so many people come to me and they're like, I just want to motivate and inspire people. And that just doesn't fly. So especially when you have no audience. When you have an audience, you have freedom to create content that's more motivational,
right,
because you have the audience that's already bought in.
Sure.
But when you're starting, I say this all the time, and it goes for every social platform, but I'll use YouTube as the example. No one cares about you on YouTube.
No.
They care about what you can do for them. So if you're not providing any kind of a value and you're making it about you and what you think is good, you're going to hear crickets. And I say that from my own experience. My first couple of videos were horrendous because I thought they were good and good ideas. So I think the biggest issue is that people are so in their head about what they think is good and what they want to do, and they're not looking at success clues. Every single industry out there, you can look on any kind of social platform or on people's websites and see what content is performing best for them. That is a clue for you. It's a great thing to have competition. It's great to have people who are already succeeding in your industry because they've already done the grunt work of figuring out what resonates.
Yeah. So
I think the biggest issue is people don't do the research. They think their ideas are the best without listening to anybody.
No. Does this happen? On the internet.
And going way, way, way too broad.
Right.
So I think those are probably the biggest issues.
We have a basketball. I'm about the only Brit you'll ever meet that is not a football fan.
Right. We talked about this. Yes.
Yeah, I love basketball. And we had a basketball coach inside of Youpreneur who was coaching other basketball coaches.
Okay, cool.
But he was having problems getting any real traction because he was too broad as well.
Right.
And I just asked him, what's your favorite position to coach? And he said, center. I said, so be the coach of the coaches for centers.
I can relate to that. My brother actually teaches basketball. Yeah. And I keep telling him, I'm like, you got to go on YouTube because he does everything in person. But like, an example of that too, and then proof that you can succeed in that niche is I Love Basketball is a huge YouTube channel, like multi-millions follow them, and they're teaching basketball techniques.
Yeah,
so.
And I mean, my son recently discovered a channel called Dude Perfect.
Oh,
which have you ever
never
heard of
it?
Oh my god,
good name though.
They're ridiculously popular, making millions of dollars. I don't know, tens of millions of subscribers, and it's just a bunch of guys who clearly probably went to high school together or something, and they do everything from trick shots to
cool.
funny little bits and pieces. So anyway, my son discovers it, and the relevancy is there. You know who they are making these videos
exactly
for. And I'm amazed every single week with the content they put out. We watch it together now.
Yeah.
And every single week I'm amazed at just how good the content is, how pro it's put together. But you can see they're super strategic
100%.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, I always say, if you really want to succeed at anything, start with the outcome that you're trying to get to and start with the person you're trying to attract and work your way back from there. Because if you're just starting from, I guess I'll throw this up there, which a lot of people say to me, they're like, I just kind of throw content up on YouTube. I'm like, you should throw up anything. Like, nobody wants you to throw up anything. That's not a good strategy. So you have to start with the outcome in mind and with your ideal audience member or ideal customer in mind and what they want.
What other things are working for you and that you see your customers doing well from a monetization perspective?
As far as like how they're monetizing?
Yeah.
So we have such a broad range of people in our first tier of program that like you may not even have a business, but if you want to succeed on YouTube, you would go into that program. And so I've seen people do things like affiliate marketing. Works super well, especially on YouTube because it's constantly bringing in traffic.
It's long form as well. It's a long form strategy.
Evergreen, all that stuff. So affiliate marketing, creating your own products and services, consultants, coaches do amazingly well, agency owners. But the big thing that like we don't focus on, although it happens for our clients and customers, is AdSense. We don't really talk about doing AdSense because I look at it as a cherry on top, but I also look at it as still having a boss because you're. But
it's also something else that can be taken away from you whenever.
That's why I'm like YouTube's your boss if you're relying on AdSense because they could change the algorithms. You're not getting as many views, therefore you're not going to get paid as much.
Okay, let's wrap up with this. And this is something that I'm really excited about going forward. We're doing a lot of it ourselves now going forward as well, behind the scenes stuff. I'm a big believer that people really, truly want to follow your journey. Once they find you and they fall in love with you and they're all about you and what you do and how you can help and serve them, they want to know what you're doing,
Totally, they want deeper,
What's your strategies for behind the scenes? And yes, I'm asking mainly for me. And everybody else tuning in, obviously.
Well,
I want to know.
That's good. I want to reiterate what you just said, which is basically people want to know once they know you. You know? So, like, you have an audience. So now is a great time to be sharing more of who you are. Sharing behind the scenes stuff in the very beginning, I think is cool to explain your journey, but at the same time, you're not going to have as big of an audience tuning into that as you are like value-driven content. But for me, that's part of the reason we went up to 2 videos a week because I basically wanted to test it and be like, okay, if I talk about things that are completely unrelated to marketing, online business, and YouTube, what happens? So I call them breakthrough videos because we've basically been testing content since June on Fridays that is not to do with our general content.
So what stuff? Give us a couple of ideas.
How I plan my week, day in the life videos.
So lifestyle stuff.
Lifestyle videos, travel videos, and it is fascinating to see what resonates and what doesn't. And so the ones that start to take off, I consider those breakthrough videos, and we've started to build a little momentum in the algorithm. So therefore, I'm going to use that to create more content like that in the future. And then we've had some absolutely flop because people just like don't really care.
Don't really care about it.
And the algorithm on YouTube, because I've already built such authority in one space, I don't have the authority to be doing the lifestyle content as much, so I have to build that up. So I've had to just be patient and sort of.
But this is
treat it
all
as a
on one
test.
channel.
All on one channel. Oh my gosh! Don't do 2 channels.
No.
No.
We don't need 2 channels.
Nobody has time for that. No.
All right, so there you have it. Just try stuff out, but don't just slam stuff up on YouTube.
No, and I think the other thing for you in relation to behind the scenes content you can use everywhere, which is amazing on every platform. But also, I treat it as like you have your hub content, which is going to drive the most subscribers, engagement, and views, which is usually generally for me related to online business, marketing, making money,
whatever your niche
whatever
is.
my niche is.
Yeah.
And then you have sort of like your added value content, which is more lifestyle, deeper, getting to know you. And I am a big believer. 1,000 True Fans is one of my favorite blog posts ever written. I think it's so smart. And it's about you don't need millions and millions of people to follow you. You need 1,000 true fans who are actually bought in. And the purpose of creating more lifestyle behind the scenes content for me is to go deep with people as opposed to trying to go wide, because the deeper you go with people and the more one-to-one connections you can have, the more people feel like they know you, the longer you're going to be around.
She's good. Told you she's good. Give me a high five for that wrap up right there. Guys, if you've enjoyed this, please reach out to her on any of the socials at Sunny
Lenarduzzi.
That name is brilliant. We'll have links to everything, including that article from Kevin Kelly, right?
Kevin Kelly, yeah.
Right below the video and everything else as well. She's amazing. Give her a round of applause. And we will see you next month for another Youpreneur Academy chit chat. Bye for now.